Hello and welcome, friends, or hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me for the second part of my Norway travel vlog. Last time we left off on the ferry on our way to Ålesund, and that's exactly where we landed later that day. Ålesund is a small city in northern Norway where there's actually quite a lot of tourism activity. I absolutely fell in love with Ålesund. It is a bit far and disconnected from the cities of Norway like Bergen or Oslo, but it is so beautiful here. It is peaceful, it is lovely, there's even great surfing spots during surf season. It's a magical little getaway. So once we landed in Ålesund, we checked into our Airbnb, which was a really cool little corner place. So we were right on the street corner and got to see the streets, and there were a couple cruise ships out in the water that we could see from a distance. My sister and I decided to go out and explore, and we found this amazing thrift shop. I will put the name on the screen here so you can see if you ever visit. The owner is super nice and super cool, and we found some items that we loved as well. The next morning we went on a boat ride to Gangar. This boat ride was absolutely stunning. Every single moment was beautiful. It was a great way to really take in all the scenery of the mountains and the forests and the homes and small towns as we glided along the water. The way that the clouds intermingled with the mountains made for stunning views. It definitely was a bit windy and chilly at some points, but it was all worth it. I highly recommend checking out this boat tour if you find yourself looking for something to do in this part of Norway. It was 100% worth it. It did take a couple hours, so it is a bit of a long ride, but they make it very comfortable with indoor seating as well as outdoor seating and some snacks along the way. Not to mention, this is one of the best ways to actually get to see the fjords in northern Norway. So again, it's not like you're just sitting on a bus, you're actually getting one of the best experiences in seeing the heart of Norway. I lost count of how many waterfalls we got to witness on our journey. The water was so clean and clear, and it was this beautiful aqua tone, just like in the Lofoten Islands in the first part of this vlog. If you guys haven't seen that yet, I definitely recommend checking it out if you want to see what it's like in the Lofoten Islands. It's definitely something I would consider seeing in your lifetime if you so have the opportunity. I'm already dreaming about going back. Hope you don't mind. I just wanted to share as many of these amazing views as I possibly could with you, because this was truly one of the highlights of the trip for me, was just seeing the full majesty of the nature in this ancient place. There was one point in particular on the boat ride where we ended up at a place called the Seven Sisters Waterfalls. They were gorgeous, like beautiful silver streams trickling down the mountains. We even got so close up to this waterfall here, and you could feel the absolute power and force of the falls. It was absolutely stunning, and I easily could have spent hours just in this one spot. Comment below if you can see the face of Odin in the side of this mountain. As we got closer to Gangar, our destination, the water became more and more of this beautiful tropical turquoisey color. there was this beautiful cove with mountains all around and this little town. Here there are tons of activities like canoeing and boat rides, paddleboards, and more. There are several shops and restaurants as well, so you can come and find some souvenirs and have a delicious lunch. We didn't have much time here, so me and a couple of my siblings decided to go on a hike. So we hiked up the road and just tried to see as much as we could from different angles and perspectives. I found this river and waterfall to be very lovely. It truly feels like a magical land here in Gangar. My sister and I decided to be a bit adventurous, and so we went ziplining, and this was spectacular. It was so much fun, and our guide, Andrea, made this experience safe, memorable, and super fun. I'll leave the name of the zipline company in case you guys want to go on your own tour. So after spending some time in Gangar, it was time for us to head back. So we got back on the boat and headed back to Oland. Now I'm skipping ahead a bit because we did have to drive about 8 hours, I believe, back to Bergen. So this is Bergen part 2. So if you saw part 1 of my vlog, we got a taste of Bergen and now we're coming back. We got to our new Airbnb, had dinner to celebrate my sister's birthday, and then the next morning we went and got breakfast and decided to go on a hike in Bergen to this beautiful lake that was up in the mountains. We saw some goats on our way there and we were able to do canoeing and paddleboarding. It was a ton of fun and a great experience, even though it did rain a little bit. After paddleboarding, the whole group went up to this viewpoint where there's actually a trolley that runs up and down the mountain. The views from up here were absolutely stunning. This is definitely one of the best spots in Bergen to actually see a full overview of the city. And yes, we did go back and get more waffles and ice cream. Some of us went back a few more times than others. This special dessert and also the quality of the service made it so worth it. After exploring Bergen for a couple days, we decided to take a train to get to Oslo. So here's the Bergen train station. Here I am enjoying my latte. And we got on the train. It was a lot of fun, even in a small space. However, there were a couple bumps along the road. Apparently, there were some wildfires happening, and there may have also been a moose that was hit on the train tracks. I know. So we actually had to disembark from the train at one point, and everybody was moved into a bus. So even though the travel was a little rocky at this point, being on the train was actually a great way for us to be able to see the countryside on our way to Oslo. Once we made it to Oslo, it was absolutely stunning. This was truly the most city that we had been in Norway. There are so many beautiful historical locations like this one here. This is Akershus Fortress. To quote from the website Visit Oslo, the building of Akershus Castle and Fortress was commenced in 1299 under King Haakon V. The medieval castle, which was completed in the 1300s, had a strategic location at the very end of the headland and withstood a number of sieges throughout the ages. King Christian IV had the castle modernized and converted into a Renaissance castle and royal residence. This is a great free attraction to come see with the whole family in Oslo. So we filled our couple days in Oslo with seeing historical landmarks and also as many museums as we possibly could. We also saw the Oslo Opera House, and not only is it a beautiful architectural sculpture on the outside, but the inside is also very lovely as well. We had scheduled a time to go to the Munch Museum, which is a very popular museum filled with some of Edvard Munch's most prized paintings. So this was just our little detour before we went to our museum appointment. It's super fun to walk on the Opera House because it has these nice angled blinds, almost like large ramps that you can walk up on top of the building. And once again, once you get up to a certain height, the views of Oslo are absolutely amazing. So while we were at the Opera House before we went to the museum, this is just a little peek on the inside. I thought this wall was really incredible. We went to the Edvard Munch Museum. He's a very famous revered painter who is Nordic, and he has some of these beautiful and recognizable pieces. Later, we enjoyed dinner at an indoor food market filled with booths and restaurants with food from all over the world. And then after, we went on a walk back home to our Airbnb. We found this beautiful park called St. Hans Hogen Park. And as soon as I came here, the light was hitting the trees and the flowers and reflecting off everything so beautifully. It was incredibly peaceful, and I just knew I had found the spot where I was going to film my Oslo yoga video. It wasn't too cold or too hot. There were some lovely gardens and statues in the park, and I just really enjoyed stumbling upon this little gem in the city. So the next morning I got ready and prepared myself, took an electric scooter, and went back to the park to film my yoga video. This is my Awaken morning yoga class set in Oslo. If you guys haven't seen this video yet, I will link it in the screen and in the description so you can check it out. It's a really great morning yoga class. It was really great that I had an excuse to wake up early so I could enjoy how quiet the city is in the morning hours. Later that day, we went to see more museums, which means more art, more sculptures. We saw many famous works, including Picasso's and the very famous Scream painting, which I have dreamed about seeing ever since I was a child. We also made a stop at the Freya chocolate shop. The factory was closed for tours during this time of year, however, we stocked up on the chocolate to bring home as gifts for family. I hope you enjoy this little clip of me on an electric scooter as we wait for our Uber to the airport. Once again, during our travel days, we always seem to get the most sunny, beautiful weather, which I guess makes the travel nice. Here are some incredible views from the plane as we're taking off from Oslo, so you can see Norway from a bird's eye view. Norway definitely has a special place in my heart. I will always remember it, and I desperately want to go back in the future. It is truly one of the most ancient and beautiful places I have ever seen and been to in my life, and I really feel akin to the people, the culture, and the land here. If you guys enjoyed this Norway vlog, thank you so much for watching. Definitely feel free to subscribe to my channel to check out my latest travels, yoga classes, and more. Stay grounded and have a wonderful week.